Hello, my name's Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be helping you guys with this video topic, talking to you all about what happens when you don't release your fire. I made a video the other day and I made a video yesterday. I make a video every day, but I recently most talked about to not suppress your authentic self. And I realized that most people look at someone outside. Most people are suppressing their natural selves, their inner fires, which I'm talking about in this video, their inner desires. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about you want to be an artist, you want to be a creator, you want to create videos, you want to create content, but people think it's stupid, and those people are not doing well themselves, so they shouldn't be giving advice. But there's consequences to not releasing your fire. I'll tell you that right now. So I talked about the power of destruction yesterday and people got scared of that. That video's for the real warriors, and the people who watch that video and take that advice, you're the ones that's who's doing well. Those are the people doing well. And yes, I don't mean to show my angels on camera, but jumping up and down next to me. It's literally, I mean, the thing with angels is they'll surprise you every single time. So back to the video topic. But back to my video topic. I think yes, they're excited about the topic. So the consequences of not letting out your inner fire. And I tell you guys, you gotta get aggressive with what you desire. You can't be subtle. You can't be subtle. What happens when a lion is in a home as a house pet? What happens? Most of the time the lions are underfed. They're not getting their natural diets like that. They're getting man-made diets. They don't want that. They're going hungry. Woo! The lions, they eventually lash out. And when the lion lashes out, and that lion's evil for being a lion, no, God made that lion a lion. When a wolf is trying to be kept as a house pet, and that wolf, that's not supposed to be a house pet. You're not Bran Stark from Game of Thrones. You're not, this isn't, that's the best example I got, but you can't keep wolves as pets in real life. You can't do that. You can keep a hybrid, but even then, hybrids are rough. They're rough. But what happens, guys, when you try to suppress your natural self? You go insane. That wolf will end up accidentally knocking someone over. Someone tries to keep a baby around it. When the baby falls over, it's like, oh, the wolf's evil now. That's a wolf. The wolf's meant to be a wolf. Let it run with a pack. Let it run outside. Let the wolf do what the wolf wants to do. Let that wolf do what that wolf. Let that wolf be a wolf. Yeah. What? Let me talk about fire right now. I have to talk about fire right now. This is the best, most important part of this video, and I'm excited to teach about this. If you are and then I'm getting to all my signs right now. I'm specifically talking about fire. If you are a fire, be a fire. Be a fire. And let me go into my example right now. If you are freely roaming and you are expansive to my fire signs, I'm gonna go down some signs right now. If you're a fire, burn everything in your path until things are new. A forest cannot regrow sometimes until a fire comes and strikes it down. Let's just say that forest full of dead trees and dead shrubs, and that fire destroyed the forest, which I talked about yesterday, which some people are afraid about. And I can remote view on when people go to turn away from video because they're scared. I know how many people did that. Don't be scared. Release your inner fire. So I'm not afraid to talk about what people are scared of hearing, because it actually helps people. It makes vicious spiritual warriors. You have to be a warrior in this world. Earth is between heaven and hell. So essentially heaven and Sheol, but you gotta fight. So if you're a fire, be that fire. Ooh, be that fire. Let that fire out. Cook, let him cook. You ever hear that on TikTok, Instagram? Let him cook, let her cook. Do it. Do what you're supposed to do. Let that fire out. What happens when a fire is kept inside? Then you're burning yourself. You're burning yourself, man. You have all this fire and inner desire, and if it's not getting out and it's getting higher, but it's getting higher from a place that you don't desire, which is in yourself, so it's cooking you. So let that fire out. In Game of Thrones quote, let a dragon be a dragon. You're a dragon, so be a dragon. Let the fire out, or else it... What happens? Let me use this as an example. What happens if you have something in your throat that you know you have to say? You know you want to say. Let's just say you're graduating. And you're graduating. And you have all 4 years or 8 years or whatever you're doing to graduate. And it's your time to speak up. It's your time to speak up. And well, let's just say, and yeah, I'm switching postures right now for a second. And I'm all the way to the side. So it's mainly to show you guys the cool rain in the background and the angels jumping up and down and clapping and whatnot. But yeah, this is let your fire out. Let your fire out. If you're someone who's creative, be creative. Let me go back to my point. You had 4 years of college, for example, and it's your time to speak. But let's just say they accidentally didn't hand you the mic, or they didn't call on your name. Are you just gonna sit there? That's your moment. That is your moment. Speak up. There's actually a video about that on TikTok, but do it correctly. Speak up correctly. So because you're gonna live with that stuck in your throat for your entire lives. You're gonna have this truth that you didn't get out, and you're not gonna ever be able to get it out again. Some cases, some things are a one-time shot. Let's just say you see someone that you know was in your past life, and you see them and you're like, I have to talk to that person. I don't know why, but I have to, but you don't. Now 10 years goes by, you're like, I wish I talked to that person. It might have been my friend from my past life. Could have been your soulmate, but you didn't talk to them. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And this actually happened to some people, but I'm not saying what's wrong with you. I'm saying what's right with you. It's because you're letting the fire out. So let that fire out. If you're creative and you don't create, you're going to go into a depression. You're going to, a spiritual depression. You're going to be bummed out because you're not creating. God made man in his image, and the Lord is a creator. The first thing God did on earth was create things in 7 days, okay? Now, that's specific to the fire signs. Next example, water. To the people who are, let's just say, oh, my water signs, hello. Let's just say you are water. You are just this element of water. Let's just say most of your astrology is water. What happens if water is going down that river and it gets stuck or blocked up? Or let's just say that water it's running low, or it's running too high. Or let's just say you have to ask yourself, where's my water? Am I going too hard right now, or am I not doing too little? So you have to control that water, let that water loose. So a better example is the water's supposed to be rushing down the river, but it's not rushing down enough to the point where it's running over, and now it's expanding outside the river versus in the river, and you're having things interfered with. Now you have your emotions all over the place versus letting your waters rush to where they need to go. So instead of rushing to where they need to go, they're getting backed up. So that's one thing you have to do. So in essence, let the waters rush. Let your waters go. What are you doing? Let your waters flow. What happens when a dam comes down that? Woo! You can't just save all this water. What happens when you don't use the bathroom and you have to urinate and you're just full of water? It's painful. It sucks. It's something you don't want to do. So let the waters go. Don't pee yourself. Go to the nearest bathroom. It's not a weird example because that does happen. And what happens? Oh, that's a good example. And you hold your bladder for too long because bladder is water. That's a perfect example. You hold it for too long. Now you're actually hurting yourself. Now you're causing issues. Same exact thing applies spiritually. You can't hold that water. What happens when the sky? What a good example. What happens if there's no rain for months? Then all your plants are dying. Everything you've ever put water into is now drying up. So if you're that water, let it rain. Let it rain. Let that water rush. Do your thing. Let go of the waters. Let it flow. All the earth signs and air signs are in the back like, me next. If you're a wind sign, or if you're an air sign, I call it wind, but if you're an air sign, let your winds fly. Let your winds fly. Let it knock things over in its path. People think, oh, wind is weak. No, it's not weak. Look how the thing electric powered windmills. And whew, what happens in Florida or in any other place in the world where the winds are too strong? It knocks over everything in its way. But what happens when you have that wind inside you? Wind is especially associated with the throat chakra. So you have this wind, but if the wind goes in the wrong direction, it destroys the wrong things. But if the wind goes in the right direction, at the right pace, woo, let your winds roar. Let your winds roar. Let the winds out. Be that person. And yes, I'm going to specific signs, and these are all associated with different elements. Water with emotions, fire with passion, desire, creativity. Oh, that wind inside of you. Let that wind out. Release your elements. And I'm gonna get to Earth soon. Oh, wait till I get to Earth. But let that wind out. And wind is associated with the Holy Spirit, which I feel more often than not, probably in this video. But let your wind out. Let it out. Let the wind out. Let that wind roar. Let it knock over everything in your path, and just let the wind be on your side. What happens? What happens when you go against the wind? You get knocked back. Don't get knocked back. Don't go against your wind. Go with your wind. Go with the flow. And the flow is where you make it to go. Don't go against the wind. Go with the wind. What happens when someone tries to go against the wind? They can't breathe, they get knocked back, things are getting knocked off. Spiritually, when you're going against the wind, let's just say, you're supposed to be on a different path. Now things are choppy for you, you feel resistance. Now you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. Be your authentic self. If you're a wind sign, for example, communicate. To have winds that are too little, there's no breeze. It's winds that are too little, let's just say, now it's hot. Now things are not comfortable. Now things are, and you're an air sign, so you gotta pick up the wind. Pick up that wind and let that wind roar. So without wind, a whole bunch, this world would be different. There's flies everywhere. So maybe you're a wind sign or an air sign, and you haven't any wind. And there's probably a bunch of bugs around you, a bunch of people who shouldn't be around you, a bunch of things, or even things you don't have to be putting up with. Let that wind fly, and it pushes all the bugs away. I know the earth signs are like jittering, like, get to the earth signs. If you're an earth sign, let your earth shake. Let it quake. And yes, there's been instances in the Bible where God has literally opened the earth up and it sucked the bad people into the earth and closed back up. Numbers, I believe, chapter 16. I could be wrong about that. I have to get a notepad because I don't organize numbers specifically, but woo, let your earth quake, let it shake. And I put the earth signs to the last because you guys are patient. Or what happens if the earth doesn't change? What happens if the earth isn't constantly moving? And yeah, you better believe there's activity under the crust of the earth, but if you're not quaking, if you're not shaking, then energy gets stagnant. And then a puddle that's supposed to be clear water turns muddy and gunky. So let that water shake. What happens? Good example. For example, if you are, and you can be too stable as an earth sign. I don't know. This video just definitely became about signs, but let your earth shake, let it rumble, let rocks fly, let rocks break and crack, and then do not just let the rocks sit. What happens if, and I'm gonna use other examples too, but it's 15 minutes in. Let your earth shake, let it quake. When people get too comfortable on the earth and it gets overpopulated, maybe you have all these people who are around you just getting too comfortable with you because you're an earth sign or you have earth in your chart, and people are just too comfortable. And what happens when people who are sleeping on you, literally sleeping on your abilities and powers, when they're sleeping on you, not doing what they're supposed to do? What happens when the ground shakes and it opens up? They're like, now it's unpredictable. So let your ground shake. Let them stir. Don't get too stagnant. If you let your earth sit without quaking a little bit, then people around you are just gonna take advantage of you. So release who you are. People forget where they came from. People come from earth. The body's made of mostly earth. We're mostly minerals. Woo! Guys, it's 15 minutes and I was gonna go deeper in this video, but 15 minutes is the count. So if you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. To get your own custom Florida Stoneman necklace, you can DM Florida Stoneman on Instagram, especially for the people of different signs and astrological backgrounds. I make the gemstones. I prescribe them specifically with the help of my beautiful angels, based off your astrology and based off who you are. So if you'd like your own custom gemstone necklace, which I don't have on the website, you can DM Florida Stoneman on Instagram. And I really enjoy working with you guys one-on-one because it helps you empower. It helps empower you. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Let me know how you like this video. Till then, I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you check out floridastoneman.com. Ciao!